We have the next wave of Xbox Game Pass announcement that we got for the first one here in January. It looks like we have some more information about a major remake here coming from Xbox, and it's going to be an Unreal Engine 5. We've been hearing about this one, but it's very exciting if this does drop, especially if it drops in 2025. It would just add to the absolutely insane year of games that we already have. Tencent, they are being blacklisted by the American government, and this will be interesting to see how this does play out. Would it affect them bringing their games over to the US or bringing their games over to North America? All of that type of stuff could end up happening here. So we'll talk about that. I say it's a big misunderstanding, but it's an interesting thing to go over, especially with the recent release of Black Myth Wukong, how big that was, how it took over gaming. It was huge in the Chinese market. So Tencent's going to be a major player. I mean, they already are, but they're going to be an even bigger player going forward. We have some updates here for NVIDIA. They are going full out here with bringing Steam Deck integration with NVIDIA GeForce Now. So that's a big thing, especially as that's going to be a major competitor to the likes of Xbox Cloud Gaming. So we have that, some more layoffs to talk about. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share the video, like the video, and let's jump into it. So it's going to be a major year for Xbox and Game Pass with just all of the first party releases that are coming up. But we have the first announcement here for January. Now, there's nothing really massive here. This is kind of just, I would say, the calm before the storm, before the developer direct, when we get more information about games coming out in 2025, maybe a stealth drop, you never know. But here is the list for the first 2025 announcement for Game Pass. You have Diablo, which is coming to Game Pass Ultimate and to PC. This is a leaked already. We knew this was coming out, as well as USC 5, which is coming to Game Pass Ultimate. And both of these games dropping into Game Pass on January 14th. Then we have a game available right now, Road 96, which is coming to Game Pass Ultimate, PC Game Pass, and Game Pass Standard. And then coming soon, Lightning Frontier, which is in Game Pass Standard on January 8th. It's already on Ultimate. It's a very cool game if you have never tried it out before. It's still a game preview, but it's a fun open world kind of farming adventure simulator style game. Then you have My Time at Sandrock, which is dropping into Game Pass Standard on January 8th. Robin Hood Sherwood Builders going to Game Pass Standard as well. Rolling Hills going to Game Pass Standard. All of those on January 8th. And that's pretty much it. That is the announcement here for the first January announcement. It's not very exciting whatsoever. Nothing here that I'm too crazy to jump to. Maybe the Diablo original. Maybe if I have time to go in there, but I have so many other games to play. But like I said, I think this is really just the calm before the storm and bringing some more games over to the standard tier for people who are only paying for that one. But what is more exciting, I think, from Game Pass is this news here that Virtuos is working on an unannounced remake using Unreal Engine 5, which from everything we have been hearing, it's going to be Oblivion. We know this game is coming back. At least that's in the rumors. I think it's all but confirmed right now. Maybe that will be at the developer direct. And it doesn't look like it's just going to be a remaster. It's going to be a full-blown remake using Unreal Engine 5. This is a phenomenal game, a phenomenal RPG. So it's very exciting. But this was found via Timur222 on X, and the information comes from a LinkedIn page of Oleksiy Moshkovchenko. I have no idea if I said that correctly. I probably did not, but he's the technical art director at Virtuos, and in the description, it says currently is working on unannounced UE5 game for the PS5, the Xbox Series X, and PC remake. And the overwhelming evidence is definitely starting to stack up that this is going to happen. If you remember during the FTC investigation of Microsoft acquiring ABK, one of the games that was expected for the fiscal year of 2022 was this remake. Now, obviously that date was missed. I'm sure they just decided to push it out further. I mean, that would have been a major hit for 2022. If you remember, Xbox didn't have any first party releases. That was their worst year in recent memory in terms of output. If they would have been able to get that out in 2022, that would have been something to kind of get that year back without having nothing out there. So we will see what happens. I do believe this is happening. I do think we will be seeing this sooner rather than later. The question is this 2025 release? That was been some of the rumors that they will also be putting this out this year, or are they going to wait and put this out next year in case they have less first party content? This year is just, it's insanely stacked from Xbox, continuously putting out more first party games. People will love that, but most people aren't going to be able to play all of this stuff, and then it may get lost into the mix of stuff coming out later on, and it's also stuff being released from third party. And then what would that mean going forward? Do they just have so many games going forward in 2026, 2027 that they can afford to put out even more first party content in 2025 day one in Xbox Game Pass? I absolutely can't wait. I hope this is going to end up true. It does look like it is, and I hope we get the announcement soon. Now, we have some interesting news here about Tencent. Tencent, as we know, a major player in gaming, is probably going to be taking over as the main competitor for Xbox from Microsoft, as well as other companies out there. We always look at Xbox versus PlayStation just from strictly a console wars perspective, but I think Tencent is a far bigger player here against Xbox than PlayStation in terms of the entirety of their ecosystem and them having their tentacles and pretty much so many different publishers and developers out there. They're going to be a global leader here in gaming, and the US government now is blacklisting them, basically because they believe here that they are linked to the Chinese military. Now, if you look up some stuff, there is some information online that can maybe give you the thought that they are linked to the Chinese Communist Party and stuff, and they are worried about information and they're worried about the security. This is why they are doing this. But they're saying here, Tencent is, that this is just a complete misunderstanding. It says that the blacklist originates from an executive order in 2020, which prevented U.S. companies from investing in companies with ties to the Chinese military. And they say shares in Tencent, which is the world's biggest game company, fell as much as 7% following the news. And Tencent has invested in more than 800 companies, including Epic Games, and shares in Activision, Blizzard, Ubisoft, and more. And this is the thing. They are the biggest, but they are trying to expand out more in the West. And they're trying to get more into what we have here in Canada, United States, and North America. And Black Myth Wukong was a major step in that direction. That's a Chinese created game funded here by Tencent, and it sold extremely well. It was recognized everywhere, almost won Game of the Year, won Steam Awards, and we're going to see more of these Chinese studios and Chinese games coming out that are going to be successful now that they have all the backing and resources to be able to do it under Tencent when they're being able to fund them and everything. So this is huge for them. They need to be able to be successful over here, and I wonder if this will have any stopping to that, or is this all just going to be, like they say, a misunderstanding and go away? Because Tencent here, speaking with The Verge, a spokesperson for Tencent, says that they plan to push back against these designations, saying, "We are not a military company or supplier. Unlike sanctions or export controls, this listing has no impact on our business. We will nonetheless work with the Department of Defense to address any misunderstanding." So we will see what happens here. It could all just be misunderstanding, or maybe this will be pushed further here, especially with a new administration coming in to the United States government. All right, let's talk about handhelds, and let's talk about NVIDIA and them bringing over NVIDIA GeForce now to the Steam Deck. Steam Deck is seemingly just going everywhere now. They're putting their OS in more places. We saw the Lenovo Legion go. They're licensing out their OS to other manufacturers, and now they're bringing over NVIDIA to bring over the GeForce app, the GeForce Now app in 2025. So here is what they say: that announced today at CES trade show, gamers will soon be able to play titles from their Steam library at GeForce RTX quality with the launch of a native GeForce Now app for the Steam Deck, and NVIDIA is working to bring cloud gaming to the popular PC gaming handheld device later this year. One of the things I will say about cloud gaming on these handhelds, especially like something on the original Steam Deck, where, I mean, you're not getting too much battery life out of it if you're playing games natively, is that I ended up actually using cloud gaming, Xbox cloud gaming, a lot, which I would say kind of goes against the point of a handheld. When you're buying it for the internals, you're buying it for the hardware and being able to download and play these games that you would play on your console or your PC natively in your hands. If you're just using it for cloud gaming, there's probably much cheaper solutions out there for you to be able to do that. But the reality is I just found battery life wasn't good, and I wanted to use the device that felt good in my hands ergonomically and everything. And I would end up just launching the Xbox Cloud Gaming app on my Steam Deck instead of actually playing the games natively. So I ended up selling my Steam Deck, realizing that it wasn't worth it. And I'm looking forward to the next generation with better battery life and everything. But I think you may see that as well here with NVIDIA GeForce Now for people who want to save the juice on their battery. They don't want to be out and have to charge it within like an hour or an hour and a half or so. Cloud gaming gives you that option. You can get a decent amount of time out of it. So, and it's going to be a competitor here to Xbox cloud gaming, which in terms of getting that on the Steam Deck, I had to do it not natively. It was like something that you had to do. You had to put in some workaround to get it to work. So Xbox needs to get on this. They need to, if they're going to get into the handheld, they need to start looking at what Steam is doing and basically start trying to beat them to the punch, because right now Steam is getting ahead of everybody out there, and they're going to be very, very successful continuously going forward when it comes to this market. Now, if you're a fan of the DualSense Edge, it is getting a price cut in Europe. It is getting a £10 price cut and a €20 price cut. They're also releasing the Midnight Black collection for the PS5 accessories, as well as the Midnight Black DualSense Edge. So they're announcing this price cut along those lines. So if you like that, look forward to a price cut in that controller. And then finally, we have some more industry shakeup. I mean, I think this is going to continue through 2025, as we saw a huge shakeup in 2024 with the layoffs, game cancellations, and studio closures and everything. And we have some more here, which I think this is kind of a good thing at the same time as also unfortunate for some people who are still going to be out of a job. But Annapurna Interactive here, the staff are reportedly taking over the private division portfolio. As you know, this was at Take-Two, and they were closing that down. Seemingly it was going to go away, but Annapurna here is stepping up here and taking over that portfolio. It says, following months of speculation, Take-Two announced in November that it had sold private division, including most of its existing and unreleased titles, but it didn't disclose who had acquired the label or for how much, and it is Annapurna who is going to be acquiring Take-Two. They say specifically that the publication claims that Haveli intends to launch a new company that will publish private division's games, including Tales of the Shire in March, the Kerbal Space Program series, and an unannounced title from Pokemon developer Game Freak. And the company will reportedly be staffed by former employers of the indie game publisher Annapurna Interactive. And it employed around 20 staff, some of whom will be laid off as a part of the plans, and then I guess some will be staying along the line. So this is where this is going with private division. If you're wondering if those games were going to be lost, looks like they are still going to be coming back under Annapurna. Annapurna has released and published some pretty great stuff. Always look forward to the games that they are putting out. So it will be interesting to see how they handle the private division. And finally, Rocksteady. I mean, this isn't surprising. They've already seen some layoffs and everything. They're suffering more layoffs now as Suicide Squad is coming to an end. The game was like literally $3 on Steam for like the deluxe edition, I believe. If you wanted to pick it up, they were trying to do anything to sell more copies at the end of its life, but they are going to be hit with some more layoffs, which is unfortunate. Rocksteady was a great developer when they were doing the Batman game. Suicide Squad obviously didn't work out for them. I'm hoping they get another chance here and make another Batman game. But they say here they have been hit with another round of layoffs as support for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League comes to an end with the final season. And the studio has seen a number of employees let go across various departments. The exact number of impacted when the layoffs actually happened is currently unknown. So we don't know, but there are some layoffs here. There was definitely a major hit here. They lost like 230 million, I believe, something along those lines with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It was just an absolute failure. You could look at many reasons why it was a failure. I don't think it has that much to do with the culture wars, as some people will say that's the reason why the game failed. I think it just has to do with the fact that people wanted another Batman style game. They didn't want a looter shooter. And when they didn't get that delivered to them, not enough people were interested in it. I mean, the gameplay and everything, from what I've heard, is decent. It's fun. It's just not what gamers wanted. I picked it up on Steam for $3. I think I also picked it up on Xbox for like $4. So I will eventually try the game and see if it's as bad as some people say. But it's unfortunate. I hope Rocksteady bounces back and we can get something good for them with their next release. I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Thank you.